Okay. Sometimes I just got to turn the camera on and shoot and just see what comes out. So, I guess this video I wanted to talk about, it's day 25 of my fast, water only, and I was going to end the fast today. I just put out a video yesterday saying I was going to end it today, my decisions, why I chose, how to choose when to end the fast and why. But as the night time came and as I woke up in the morning, it just didn't feel right to end it today. I felt a new wave coming on my body of healing, in my lower back, in my kidneys. I felt it starting to work there. My gums have been a very interesting one. They'll do like 3 days on, 3 days off, where they'll really sort of ache and want to gurn, and it's really weird. And I really wonder if that is years of brushing teeth with toothpaste, or the chemicals from drugs I've taken in the past, like as in pharmaceutical drugs. I've not taken anything in like years, 5-6 years. I've been super away from it. I've not used deodorant or shampoo or soap in years. Obviously the odd occasion, but very, very rarely. So I think that's really blessed me in terms of not having to detox so much through these areas. I've not had any problems, but my gums has been a very interesting one. So I think that's years and years of the past coming up. But in this video, really, I wanted to talk about sort of the physical reasons I'm fasting, because there's well, not obvious to everyone, but there's so many emotional and mental reasons to fast and benefits from it, which all lead to the spiritual. It all sort of piles on each other as these three come together: the physical, emotional, mental. That's what builds up the spiritual benefits stem from like that spiral of them healing. But the physical one is a more specific one I wanted to talk about here, and essentially my history of sport, just so you know where I'm coming from, because I'm not just a crazy guy trying some wild things on the internet. I know my body very well. I don't mean to sound arrogant with that. In terms of like, I'm intuitive, I'm incensed with my body. So the first years of my childhood, my parents said I would be upside down more than I would be the right way up. And I learned to handstand at about 6-7 years old, and I could do crow to handstand at like 6-7 years old, and walk around the living room on my hands at 10 years old. And I played football my whole childhood up until 18. I was a striker. I loved Derby County. I had a season ticket. I played training all week. I played for my school teams. I played on the weekend in the Sunday league. I played Saturday league sometimes as well. I played five-a-side. And so that's a sport which is all about agility. It's about short bursts. It's about sort of awareness, fast feet, like proprioception, connection with your body and your limbs and your feet, for control. So that trains a really certain element, and like awareness of other people. And, I could go into it a lot more. So I did that for years. Then I got into breakdancing at about 12-13 years old, which was always where my heart was more at, but there was never a club for me to go to. I wanted to go gymnastics, but there wasn't a club for gymnastics near me. Then I got into breakdancing, which trained your the words, I've lost the word, like kinesthetic awareness. Your awareness of where you are in the air. I think it's kinesthetic awareness. You can tell me in the comments what that word is that I'm trying to find there. But it trains all of that sort of stuff, so you know where you are at all times. And it's just your body. Then it's no one else. Again, it's agility, it's movement, it's flexibility. So I knew the boundaries of my body. I used to go to sleep I used to lie in bed at night, and I'd wake up. Well, I wouldn't wake up. I wouldn't be able to go to sleep because I'd be having these ideas of all these movements I want to do, these sequences. I'd turn my light on, I'd practice on my bedroom floor, and I learnt windmills and heads. I could spin on my head and all this stuff. But flexibility was my biggest limiting factor. I remember like having at least 3 dreams where in my dream I could pancake, which is where you do that and you can get to the floor, and being so stoked, and then waking up and it wasn't a reality, and I was really sad when I woke up. And this was at like 14-15 years old. And then about 15-16 years old I got into parkour, which again is similar to breakdancing in the fact that it's using your body and that kinesthetic awareness. But it's different in the sense that you're using your environment then as well, and there's no coaches with that to guide you in terms of form. And I always found it interesting, but I love the freedom of it because it's expression of movement. if you silhouetted two gymnasts, they would look the same, but if you silhouetted two free runners, they would all look different, which is great in terms of watching it. But in essence, the body is built to function a certain mobile direction, and when you don't use that direction, you can really damage it, because you're putting impact through joints in a way that is least efficient, is not as efficient for it. Whereas gymnastics is about maximum efficiency through the body. And so without that background or that discipline, I did a lot of parkour, and with the background of football, where I had several injuries during that, and then breakdancing, and I had surgeries when I was younger, you know, antibiotics and all this stuff, which potentially leads to candida and other things in the body. There was stuff in my body that affected me, that, you know, we're such a chemistry lab, and I'm only learning this in the last, you know, 3-4 years, that I probably had stuff then. Like, I might have had candida at like 8 years old. My toenail fungal infection came on like when I was 8 or 10 years old in wet football boots or whatever, but that may have helped the mold grow, the fungus grow, but it comes from something in the gut, from being on antibiotics, from having surgeries when I was younger. And so I feel like I've been living, the whole time I've been doing these sports, I felt stiff and limited. When I was breakdancing, and I just couldn't gain flexibility, and I was stretching my legs every night, pulling on the doorknob for 15 minutes, like leaning into it. Yes, my stretching technique, it might not have been the best stretching technique, but I was still young enough that I should have been supple and been able to make gains, and I never made gains. And then, so parkour, I wasn't aware of shoes, so I was wearing shoes with a thick heel in them. And when you're landing with impact in a thick heel, it shortens your calves, because the Achilles can't stretch to the full range of motion. It's just stamping down. The calf doesn't need to stretch, and so it builds a strength around that range of motion on the slab. So if you've got a flat foot and a flat shoe, and you're landing, and your calf can stretch, and your Achilles can stretch to its full range, and you can use that when you rebound. But if it's limited, it's short, and it never needs to grow longer, so it builds scar tissue and strength in that position, which is one of the reasons I really believe I've got short, tight calves, and I got Achilles tendonitis from that. Another thing, I've never been able to lock my elbows. They've always been at this slight angle. They've never gone completely straight. As long as I can remember, I remember being like 12 years old at a football game thinking, why can't my elbows lock? And again, that's from doing handstands younger, but there must have been something within me, possibly candida, that does lead to arthritis and can limit and hinder the joints. Now, I've done everything I've done with my handstands and body strength has been with limited range of motion in my elbows. Other people that do handstands on one arm lock their elbows out, and they can just lock their arm. I've had to do it all with a different capacity, which, you know, speaks to my drive and my passion for what I'm doing. Not, you know, just putting it out there. So there's that gone into my body, and I've always had like not always, but occasionally I'd have a lower back tweak, and I'd have to see a physio who would sort me out. But towards the end of my parkour sort of shift, it took me ages to warm up, and I would feel really stiff, a disconnect between my upper half and lower half. When I was younger, I didn't feel the same disconnect. I could fly back and forth, and I think there's something in the connection with my lower back, stiff glutes, hamstrings, or whatever, from impact. You know, if you're impacting, like I say, with the calf, that goes up the chain, so that then limits your hamstring, limits your glutes, it shortens your back. And so I got into sort of anterior pelvic tilt and all that. But so to go back to the sports, so I did football, breakdancing, parkour, which are team sports, to solo sports, to sports with environment. Then I got into running. Now, running is a very different practice altogether as well, because it's, and I mentioned this in the other video, it's a repetitive motion over and over again. And if your body isn't in alignment, then you will quickly know about it, because if you've got an axis of a car, that if the wheels aren't straight, if the wheels are like that, it's quickly going to burn through. If the wheels are straight, you can keep on going a lot more efficiently. So if my body's out of line from the parkour and I'm running, yes, I can still go fast because of power, but it's not as efficient as it could be, and I'm in full awareness of that. It made it quite frustrating to run, because I would get to a certain level and then I'd get injured, and I could never break the 18-minute 5k. I got 3:04 in a marathon, I wanted to break 3 hours. 5:07 on a mile, I want to break 5 minutes on that. So there's some goals I had, and the training just was like, I had to up my training, and yet I wasn't getting better, and I was getting close to injuries, and I was getting injuries. and so that was frustrating. So these are some of the reasons where my body's at, and you know why I'm taking this pragmatic mindset towards healing and taking 2-3 steps back with the fasting to let go of the muscles, to focus on the muscles. In The Peaceful Warrior, which is a book about a gymnast, it talks about the muscles should always be soft, like a cat. If you feel a cat's muscles, they're never dense. And from the footwear that I've worn, and I think a lot of us, we have dense muscles, and it's like sort of dead muscle in the middle where it's limited the range of motion. And there's other doctors that could go way more in depth into this stuff. But I want my muscles to be soft and supple at all times, like Kelly Starrett said, supple leopard. I don't want to have to wake up and have to warm up for 15 minutes before my body's ready to move. I want to be able to wake up and move as soon as I'm like a child. And I really believe it's within us. It's not just age or whatever to blame it on. There's ways to get back to feel good. Maybe not the exact same way, but to wake up and feel fresh and be able to go if our body is built efficiently and functionally. So then there's also the whole, I've done yoga for about 6-7 years, and in all my yoga I've done so many different types: Ashtanga, Vinyasa, Jiva Mukti, Bikram, just to name a few, and I've never made progress with it. I've always felt stiff. I've gone to like 4 sessions a day sometimes for over a week, and I've done like, you know, an average of 2 or 3 a day for a week, and started to feel a bit better at the end of it. And then a week later I'm back to where I was before, and I was like, why is my body stiffening up? Again, if I make an assessment, I might put this down to candida in the joints, and the food not being completely fully raw fruitarian may be it, and we'll discover as I'm going forward. These are just things I'm putting, you know, in alignment for as I come out of the fast. So then yoga is a really good playground for understanding where your body is. I'm just going to change the battery on this camera. So yoga is a really good practice for healing in the body, because what it does is it sends blood flow to every corner of your body. If you're just running, or you're playing football, or rock climbing's almost like yoga, but you're just sending a lot of blood flow and impact through a repetitive motion through the joints and swinging things in the same way over and over. But with yoga, it focuses on going through stretching every single muscle to a degree, it depends on how long the class is, at every angle it can do, and encouraging blood flow and breath and oxygen to get into the body in those corners, which gives a real deep spring clean. It's like running is like just cleaning your living room over and over, so you've got a really amazing clean living room, but your bedroom and your toilet are messy. Yoga is like cleaning all of them and maintaining all of the different rooms at the same time within your body. And it also gives you an awareness of the depth you are. You see other people, the depth that they can go, and it starts to bring, and especially mixed with marijuana or mushrooms as well. Definitely not every time, but on occasion you can realize the depths possible, and it gives you a real deeper connection to your body and feeling where the blockages actually are, which you can't always get when you're in a sort of sober mind. They help you to release that and it just gives you that connection to your body where you're like, oh, this is where I know I need to work. This is where the blockages are in the physical. So all of that yoga practice, with all the history and then the frustration of yoga not making any progress, it was just sort of upkeeping. I felt like I was on an uphill treadmill, like an uphill stairway to heaven, and the thing was just coming down, and I'm just going up and just having to do all this work to not make any gains anymore, just to keep where I was at. And I wanted to make progress here and in running, and then I wanted to make progress in yoga, and I was like, it's not working, and something else needs to change. And all the time, the biggest moment of my day was the meal that I was eating, and I wasn't necessarily eating purposefully and mindfully. I was eating vegan, I was eating high raw, but there was still something not letting me go forward. And again, back to potentially the candida, not to make it all about that, but if I was feeding something in there that you can't get balance out until you fast for a certain amount of time, looking at research into further healing. I went to Hawaii last year for 3 weeks, went raw and felt a lot better, But as long as you're consuming, and even intermittent fasting, you can't get to that place where you start to burn all the unessential, anything in your body that's unessential to your body's livelihood. And that's what led me to the fasting. And there are people saying, oh, you're going too far, you look tired. Yes, I look tired. I'm fasting, I'm not eating. That's part of it, that's part of healing. Here's the thing, we're so afraid for things to get worse, to get better. We want everything to take a pill and then you suddenly feel better in your soul. That's not how it works in the world. How do you build muscle? You go to the gym, you break down your muscle and it builds stronger. How do you heal? You break down your body and it builds back stronger. It's the same way. We just want everything to go better and better. We're so scared. Same with depression. People are scared of getting more depressed, so they lock themselves where they are. So sometimes you need to get work. That's why things like mushrooms are incredible with depression, because it will just burn up all the negativity and then you come out of it stronger. You might go, it might be a dark trip. You know, it's not about just ecstasy and pills that make you feel better, MDMA, and then next minute for 3 days you're crashing out and the things that really work are the things where you have to put the work in the first place to earn the good thing. That's how life works. If you want positivity, discipline is one of the keys to it. Using the willpower first. And that's what the fasting is about. It's about, yes, I might look worse and feel worse for now. Cool. I've chosen to put my body in a state of ill and healing so that I'm not actually ill and I'm healed. You know, it's a step back. And so, on top of that, yoga is a wonderful practice, and I'm very excited to get back to it. And I have noticed a lot more looseness in my body. I also did rock climbing, which is a beautiful practice, and sort of my intention after this is rock climbing, mountain running, and yoga, and we'll see. That's my dream. That is what I'm like vision boarding, living for. Is I just want to do that and feel free in my body. I don't want to feel stiff. I don't want to feel like I'm fighting an uphill battle, like I'm in an inefficient body. And I care so much about that, and I believe so much. Call me wild and a dreamer, but I believe so much in our potential as a human to feel good and happy every day, just like we did when we were a child, to feel that as an adult. And I look around and I see no one, and I mean 99.99% of people are not happy generally. And the thing I learned the most from this, and it might sound obvious, but it's that the gateway to it is through the body. It's your physical. The gateway to mental health is through the body. Health is the ultimate truth, and it's through the body, through freeing the body, that we can free the mind. Where the body goes, the mind follows. So I'm getting so passionate here. I said just turn the camera on and talk and see what comes. So I'm focused on the body. I'm not trying to just namaste, love and light, and yes, I just sit and meditate every day. And I'm not against meditation when I say this, but I'm just saying it's put out so much as the route to everything, for spiritual growth and healing. And absolutely, I'm all for it, all for meditation. I just want to try a different route first, which will aid that in the future as well. And it's that split path, because it's like happiness comes from acceptance, but I just couldn't accept where I was at. And I'm like, no, I don't want to just accept this. And all these ancient practices may have worked when people were eating organic food, when people were breathing fresh air. We don't have fresh air, we have processed food. People's bodies are shutting down, and they can't just meditate through it, most people. Some people might be able to have the strong enough mind and heal their body, but the fasting is the reset button, as it seems. I know I'm not got massive experience in it, but so far I'm in tune, and I'm telling you, I know my body, and living day to day in it. I'm not just suddenly keeling over. I'm here, I'm very alert and awake, and I've not eaten in 25 days. Anything but distilled water is the only thing I put in my body. And I'm here, and I'm fine, and I'm good, and I'm excited for life, and I'm hungry for life, more than ever as an adult. And it's through the physical, the gift of the physical body. You were given the one vehicle you have, and we prioritize sorting the house out and the car. And this is the route to the real happiness, because when the body is at peace, the mind follows. It becomes magnetic. A spirit, you can channel your higher self, just comes through. There's nothing to stop it then. But as long as this is blocked up and hindered, we go through life a bit hindered. And so that's my sort of I want to go through the physical background. There's way more things: the toenails, the verrucas, scars, other things. But I've got a very wide background in many different sports, because I loved from a very young age my body and exploring my body. And now I've given myself the opportunity, and I'm not saying I'm going to be fully healed and I might do more fast in the future, but I found what seems to be, and may appear to be to some of you who are ready, the last path anyone wants to do, and yet the simplest thing to do. And when you do it and you're in it and you feel it and you're fasting, it feels so natural and so deeply ingrained in our DNA and our genetics to be in this state, that I feel like I could go on to 40 days or longer. Now, I made the commitment to 25 yesterday, and you could probably tell that I wanted to do more. I've made the promise of 28 days, because that is a full lunar cycle. That is in sync with the Earth's cycle, with the seasons. 28 days, full lunar cycle. I will break it on Tuesday, which will be 28 and a half days, because Monday night was when I started, with some watermelon. But I wasn't ready today. I wasn't ready. There was more to do. I just went to see a physio massage therapist today. He helped me out. I found there's 2 lumps in my back, in the quadrolumbaris or something, that have been only when I've touched them they've been tender, but I realised they are one of the gateways to fixing my lower back. So that is my focus now. That and the ankles, it's all connected. It is all connected. That's from impact as well. So impact through the heels, that's going straight to that part of the lower back, and it's seized up like little rocks. So that's my focus now. I've never had this. When I'm training, when you're doing, your yogas and running often, and then I'm eating, I'm not taking time to really, and that speaks to me and who I am, and 100 miles an hour, Aries, charging everything. I've got a focus now. I've got things I'm doing in between, upkeep, maintenance on the body, gua sha, self-massages, cleanliness, hygiene, like natural hygiene, simple stuff, checking the corner, and if you ever take mushrooms or anything like that and you're in a room by yourself, you find yourself appreciating the voice, the vocals, the sounds, you discover the power of who you are. It shows you who you are. And we're removed from those natural raw medicines that grow from the ground at a time when you're a bit down in winter, to help you see the truth of who you are. But that's the whole conversation for another time. I just want to talk about the physical for now. And so you guys have an idea of where I'm coming from, my experience, and this is just a bite size I can give in 20 minutes, but where I'm coming from, my history, why I'm doing this, the hopes for it, where I feel like it's going. And even this, sitting cross-legged like this, I couldn't sit like this before and be this comfortable. There's progress in stepping away. Then, there's a quote I read today. There is no healing other than self-healing. That's it. It's all self-healing. I've just got out of the way. Digestion takes the most energy, and as long as your digestion is limited to what it can do, you step out of the way, let it do its spring cleaning. Your body's got a to-do list. Everything at the bottom. Our ankles, they're low down. I've got to fix the kidney and the liver and the heart. They've got to stay. Oh, but we're digesting. Okay, focus on digestion and the kidney and the liver. Cool. Oh, but we're not digesting. Oh, right. Well, what's at the bottom of the to-do? What's down there? Do that. Okay, cool. Right, I'll do this bit. Right, I'll do that. Now, oh, now I can get to the ankles. Day 18, I'll get to the ankles. Oh, day 20. Right, I can get to the lower back now. So that's what's going on. That's what it seems like is going on. A lot to come in the future. That's it for me for now. I hope you apologise for my intensity. I can get intense. I'm passionate, but that's me. If you choose to watch it, you choose to watch it. If you like it, you can subscribe for more content. Hit me in the comments below. I'll read them. I'll hit you back. Godspeed.